So a while back, I did a bunch of game jams. I did 5 game jams in 2 months, which I thought was pretty impressive. And I wanted to make a video about all the games I made. And so, 5 months later, because college started, I am finally getting around to making this video, because it's summer now. And basically, yeah, I might not remember too much of what was difficult about the games, but I'll try to, you know, I'll try to tell you what I thought. It's been 5 months, so I don't remember perfectly. But anyway, this is gonna be Crashtastrophe once it loads. And so basically, in this game, you're trying to collide planets with one another, and you just get a ton of points, and you want them to hit each other, and then you try to get them all in the black hole. That's pretty much this game. The thing I'm most proud of that I did this game was getting all of the edges of the screen to loop. There is a tutorial on my channel on how to do that. It was really just putting a bunch of cameras around the sides of the screen and lining them up right so that they just overlap on each other. Um, and yeah, so yeah, I also made different music for basically different music variants for each, like every time you play it, it's a random music variant, which I thought was kind of cool. That was for the 20-second game jam. And then the next one was There Are Others. I don't remember which game jam this was for. My only comment on the game was, I need Painkiller, hated and loved. So I'm gonna take that as a good thing. Um, because this is a rage game with floaty jumps and a couple glitches, not gonna lie. Like that one where you kind of go into the floor a little bit. It is not easy. Not easy at all. And your goal is to get as many points as possible in this one. It starts describing the player as a bird in the text boxes. Well, they're not boxes, but you know. You try to avoid all the red things. Anything that kills you will be red. Um, and yeah, it's pretty much it's just a rage platformer with like kind of tricky movement. Because I'm sure you can see it, but like whenever you're trying to change direction, it takes like a really long time. And so basically, you'll end up with this flock of quote unquote birds flying around, and those are all just AI. And yeah, so I'll be playing through each of these games the whole way through, at least once. Last time I played it twice because it's such a short game. Anyway, and I'm just dubbing over these with my voice talking about them, so I'm not actually struggling to play through the game and talk to you at the same time, don't worry. I'm making these mistakes all on my own. Um, yeah, it's pretty difficult, I think, the game. The hardest thing I think for making this game was trying to get the bird AIs to like not just get themselves killed. I wanted to make the levels somewhat interesting without having the AI all die for no particular reason, or because it was too hard, or whatever. So sometimes the AI will literally just like, I don't know, they just dodge to the left or right. So you can see it there, like they basically light speed dodge one way or the other when they're about to land on something bad. Um, the I think the easiest way to get your AI killed is to have them all fall off the side, because they're just like moving around to your left or right. Anyway, so the game gets harder and harder with more and more red things to avoid as you go on. Anyway. So yeah, that's, I think, pretty much it. I'm trying to think if anything was particularly easy about this game. Um, I'm not really sure. I don't remember very well how this game went. Um, but yeah, I guess I could explain scoring. So basically, the coins give you plus 3 points, and also 1 point per friend you have, or other bird AI you have with you when you collect a coin. Like if I got that coin right here, I would get 5 points. Um, and then the portals just give you 2 points per other bird you have with you. So the scoring is entirely dependent, pretty much entirely dependent on how many friends you've got around when you score points. So you can actually get quite a lot of points. It'll say at the end what the maximum score is. I calculated it, I could not get that many points. Um, but I still had the game kind of taunt you, like, oh, max score is this, by the way. I think it's 113, it'll say here. Perfect score is 113, by the way. Anyway, if we jump off here, you'll just restart. So yeah, moving on to the next game. So this was, let me think. I can't see it. It is small on my screen right now. Oh, was this The Hungering Void? Yes, The Hungering Void. So this was Horror Game Jam number 10, Hungering Void. It has 3 chapters. Um, and so there's a monster in the game, and I'd say the hardest part was getting the monster to work right. Um, so yeah. I think the thing I'm most proud of was how I got the lighting to work. Although, if I remember right, now that I think about it, I think I used a lighting package. I accredited that in the credits of the game, so if you get to the end, you'll see that. Um, so never mind, I was wrong. That's not the thing I'm most proud of. I think hmm. What did I like most about this game? There was some good stuff in it. Um, I kind of like how the monster turned out in the end. It's like it's more detailed than everything else, which I think was creepy-ish. Um, I thought the game turned out pretty well. I'll play through all 3 parts. Um, so up ahead here, there's a box, and when you try, if you try to push it, if you hit E, it won't work. You have to get the arms to push it. Anyway, so this is the clock hands. It said there, obviously. I typed escape there, and basically that just kills yourself. Um, and the reason that that exists is because, um, oh yeah, the audio is glitched. I need to update this game after posting the video because I don't think it's still glitched in my Unity editor. But right now, for some reason, the music is getting louder when I move the clock hands, which is not supposed to happen. It's just supposed to make like a grinding noise. Um, the reason I went back down to adjust that hand is because it will move slightly, and I was concerned that I would get stuck here, and I didn't want to have to replay the scene. So yeah, and also I should mention, so that code I read at the first chapter, that's what you put into this clock in order. So like the top two are what I did first, and then the bottom two are what I'm doing now. Although I get the order wrong here. I have to switch them around. Um, so in a second I'll do that. So yeah, by the time, if you play this, by the time you do it, I'll have the new one out where the correct audio is playing when the clock moves. I should also mention that I think most people got stuck on the clock hands because I couldn't get them to work very well. Oh, this is the best scene. Basically what I was saying about the clock hands was that they just kind of go past where you want them to, which I thought was gonna be okay because, like, you know, it's supposed to be like a tension sort of thing, like you're trying desperately to get them in the right place, especially in this scene, because like that note said, like a monster will get unleashed whenever the clock strikes midnight. So if you accidentally move the hands like past where they're supposed to be, but it does hit midnight, the monster will get unleashed and then the doors will lock again. So this is where it's really obvious that the audio got messed up. I just have the wrong thing playing when the clocks are moving for some reason. So I'll fix that in a bit. But you can see I'm like really painstakingly trying to get these in the right place without them moving over it. So I'm actually just gonna wait for that because I don't want to accidentally push it past because that'll be bad. And so then basically the monster will chase you through this maze, just getting slightly closer every second. Um, and yeah, if you could get through the maze, you win. You escape the mansion. Um, so yeah. I end up taking a wrong turn here. And ending up back in the library room. So I get killed, but I don't want to spoil the end, so I decided not to play it again and end up finishing it. So I'm just going to move on to Snowy Snowy. Now this is a little kind of speedrunnable game that I honestly speedrun the making of this game. I just used like Unity's physics. And I had the interesting mechanic of the game is pretty much that if you jump and you're midair but you touch like the side of a block or the bottom of a block, and you're still in midair afterwards, you can jump again. So as long as you've touched something, you can jump again, even if you're still in the middle of the air. Which is basically the whole point of the game. Other than the fact that you always jump straight upwards, relative to your player, not the world. So you're constantly trying to rotate your player to jump the right way. And collect all these presents that you don't want. That's a reference to, like, what was it? The Jelly of the Month Club was a reference to, like, Christmas Vacation. A really good movie. Um, anyway, so the Steam gift card is a reference to the prize for the competition. I did not win the Steam gift card. I did not win that game jam, or any of them really, but I think I made some cool games, so I wanted to show them here. And this next one is... Oh, and the gun was a fiddle. So this is a reference to that one song. You probably know it. I don't remember the name. Oh, it's The Devil Went Down to Georgia. You're playing a golden fiddle and fending off all the demons trying to steal your soul. Which you for some reason have 3 of. It's like having 3 lives, basically. But if a demon eats one of them, it'll just go after the next closest one. So they're always going after whichever is closest to them. And yeah. And it gets faster every time you play the song, and more demons start spawning. And so basically I'm just trying to... I think it's interesting because it's like a third-person shooter, but in that you're protecting something else. Like, they're not going after you. They're going after these 3 souls that count as your lives. which I just thought was an interesting concept, because now you're shooting from like off or over on the side of the screen. That makes it a little harder to aim. I think the hardest part of this game was animating the fiddle. It was hard to keep everything in line with the song and how it's playing. The other hard part was just getting the bullets to shoot when you played a note. Um, that that was really difficult because I had to like make a list of notes and just have it iterate through the list. And like, is this a rest or a note? And it'll shoot on notes and not on rests. Anyway, so yeah, I do. Oh, here. It gets faster and faster, so at the end you're like frantically fending off these demons. And there we go. And then the demons eat all your souls because I didn't actually program them to stop after you win for some reason. So yeah. And last but definitely not least, I think this is the best game I made, is Swordscalibur. This one I'm really proud of because I made it in 3 days for one of the jams. Like a lot of these were like, oh, 2 weeks to make a game. Obviously, I didn't spend 2 weeks on all of them a lot of times. Like, I think Snowy Snowy was like, you could spend 2 weeks, but I really only spent 2 hours on it. But this game, I really only spent 2 days for the game jam. It's basically a game about Zeus having a sword that commands lightning, but like he already can command lightning, so he doesn't need the sword. So he wants to like have some game between you and someone else to see who's worthy of said sword. And this ends up being kind of a card game. Um, it's sort of similar to, like, if you've ever heard of a card game called Dominion, it's pretty similar to that, except that when you play a card, instead of going into like a discard, it just disappears forever. I mean, it really just sits in front of your hand forever, like that. Um, so yeah. And the main mechanic of the game is that Hades will start betting, and Hades coins are the black ones up to the left. And so when he loses a bet, he loses money, and then if he runs out of money, at that point he will just kill everyone in the room except for Zeus because he can't kill Zeus. And yeah, so now he's betting I'll lose. And so I think the hardest part about this game was getting the text to work right. I could not figure out how to do custom font. So I had to just make a bunch of images, one for each letter, and then make a script that would format them correctly to form the words that I just input in form of string, or in the form of a string. And so here, now he's betting I'll win, so I'm definitely going to try to win this hand. The thing I'm most proud of the game was actually that sheep noise, funnily enough. I just like how it turned out. It was actually me going bah! um, into the mic, and I just upped the pitch. So now he's betting all his money that I'm gonna win, so I'm definitely gonna try to win. I guess I said that before. This is still that turn. So basically the object of this game ends up being to alternate winning and losing until Hades has enough money that you can just go on a winning streak and win the rest of the rounds. Um, I end up doing really well this game, but it's a lot harder than it looks here. I think the other difficult thing, other than the text, was getting the camera movement to work. Um, Yeah, and also getting the text visibility to be good. Like, at first these were like sand-looking tablets, like they were like a sandy yellow color. And as you can probably guess, the sandy yellow text on a sandy yellow tablet does not work very well. People could not read it. So I had to change them to stone tablets. So now Hades is betting I'll win again, and Hades is starting to have a bit of a nest egg. So that's really good for me because he's not gonna kill all of us if he runs out of, Anyway, so I'm doing a pretty good job of alternating wins and losses by getting a lot of blood chalices, which just reduce your points by a bunch. I will be using those extensively this game. I wonder. So anyway, and I think I remember I programmed the AI to kind of avoid the point loss cards. I'm not sure if I kept that in or if they use them sometimes. But it's really pretty much up to you to try to be above or below the AI in any given time, based on what Hades is doing. But I think now that Hades has 31 and is betting on me to win, I'm just gonna... At this point, I just start going for win after win until I get 5 wins in a row, because that's how you win the game. Or not 5 wins in a row. It's not that harsh. It's just 5 wins total before they get five. I think if you had to win 5 in a row, you would always get killed by Hades. Um, Also, note that the AI used like all their cards, so they're only drawing one card per turn, and that's all they can do. So they're pretty screwed because they just don't have enough control over what's gonna happen in order to actually win. So yeah, I just end up winning 3 in a row here, and that's game. I made a couple different songs for different, end states. So yeah, that was Sword Excalibur. I think that was the best one out of the 5 I made. So definitely check that one out on itch.io. It's on the lowest byte. Um, so yeah, if you liked the video, leave a like. If you hated it, just leave a dislike or comment telling me how trash I am. If you really want to see more, subscribe.